Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me as we take a look at the astrological energies from December 25th until December 31st. The last week of 2024 brings about some significant astrological energies, and we'll be discussing them in today's show. This is a pre-recorded episode so that I can enjoy time with my family on Wednesday, December 25th, and I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day, Happy everything, Merry everything, and I hope too that you're able to enjoy the best of the holiday season, as there certainly is a lot going on right now. And because this podcast is being released on its typical schedule of every Wednesday, maybe this gives you an excuse to take a break from any of those family commitments or uncomfortable conversations. Just let them know you gotta go listen to your friend Molly, and she's gonna talk your ear off for about 45 minutes, so you'll need a break just to listen to her. But truthfully, thank you for your time, presence, and energy. I am grateful for you as we have moved through the year 2024 and everything it's brought up. And we are closing out the year with some big developments and changes. So as promised, now I'm going to talk your ear off as we look at what is happening here until December 31st in the cosmos. Now we are still in the pressure of Jupiter retrograde in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces at 14 degrees. This was exact on December 24th, but the energy will carry out through the end of the year. This could be the pressure to decide something, especially with that Jupiter in Gemini showing many options, paths, many words, many approaches. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, there's the energy here of not being able to choose one thing and perhaps having difficulty focusing or even understanding what option is best for you. Now, Saturn in Pisces is squaring the mind and mental energy of this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So there could be a sense of something has to end. There is a completion and closure at hand that this Saturn in Pisces is bringing forward. However, this is not new energy. It actually started back in August. And so here we're at a pressure point at the end of the year for something that you've been sitting with, figuring out, realizing change is at hand, what to do, what to choose. Now, Saturn in Pisces, again, is about completions and something that you need to surrender in order to move ahead. This is not fast-moving energy. There is commitment and responsibility here. There is a sense of duty and even obligation. And so when Saturn is in Pisces, we want to be responsible with closures, with endings. We want to be aware of the ramifications and long-term consequences. We also don't want to act too fast. And so this square is potentially creating stress because you can feel the endings that need to occur, and yet maybe you're resisting them, or you're not ready, or you don't want to choose that, or you don't want that to happen, whatever the case may be in your scenario. And then that Jupiter retrograde in Gemini can be offering, well, what about this? Consider this. How about you do this? Why don't you say this? And it can be a very active energy. I'm getting the visual of a chihuahua. That Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, it's a chihuahua jumping up and down, giving you ways to deal with it and figure it out and what to say and et cetera, et cetera. And the energy here is asking you to rise above the chihuahua energy that could be creating a frenzy and to go with the whispers from your soul and your intuition, which is also what this Saturn in Pisces is tuned into. Now, Saturn is stronger here in Pisces, and when we have a square between these two planets, there is a sense of, but this is what I want, and this is what I have to do. This is what I want to choose to make it easier, but I've got to be responsible and I've got to handle it well. And then to add to the mix, we're going to have Mercury in Sagittarius enter this conversation on December 26th and create a T-square with Jupiter and Saturn. Mercury in Sagittarius previously was retrograde and interacted with these outer planets twice since late November. But because of the retrograde, Mercury in Sagittarius is wiser and has been through some experiences where you've collected more information, more knowledge about the bigger picture choice and where you're really going. That Mercury in Sagittarius is hopeful and positive, but on December 26th meets up with the pressure and frenzy of this Saturn-Jupiter square. So you could now have more information presenting itself that you weren't previously aware of. You could have a second round at a conversation. You have to revisit something that you thought was settled or figured out. Mercury returning to this interaction here brings about more to review, understand, consider, and learn. And this can actually heighten the intensity and the pressure and make you question yourself. Did I make the right choice? Am I doing the best thing? Is this truly what I want? Mercury in Sagittarius now creating that T-square can have us being pulled in multiple directions, which can lead you to toss up your hands and say, I don't know, and I thought I knew, and now I'm not so sure. Now keep in mind, because this energy is spiking right now, it is big here through the last week of December, you're not meant to be 100% clear yet. You're meant to be exploring different options, approaches, gathering more information, and to allow yourself to hear the wisdom of each of these planetary expressions. Think of each one as its own archetype, and each of the archetypes are giving you insight that's designed to support you. Now, the pressure is going to decrease as we move into January. Mercury in Sagittarius will clear its shadow on January 3rd and then finally enter Capricorn on January 8th. This is where decision making is going to be stronger and clearer. Again, January 8th is when you could really have something concrete and sorted, because now Mercury enters into the executive decision making power of Capricorn. So if you can hold off until January 8th or so, that will probably serve you best. I realize that's not always practical, but Mercury has been in Sagittarius since the beginning of November 3rd. So this has been a 2-month exploratory adventure, if you will, into how your mind works and to notice what needs to be reprogrammed, to observe how you approach multiple options, opinions, beliefs, directions, to observe yourself when faced with important choice points and be aware of the fears that come up, the responsibilities, the people involved, the commitments, to look at where your energy goes when life is more complex, and also to understand what you need to feel more grounded and strong in yourself amongst the turmoil, shifts, and changes. So as you observe yourself handling a dilemma, a choice, whatever has been presented to you, what are you noticing around your own thought patterns? Where do you go into those fears and doubts or worry? Where do you feel the most stress? Where do you feel the most overwhelm? When we can detach and observe ourselves, we start to see our own mental habits and unconscious programming that we can then make conscious and approach it from a higher energy perspective. And that is one of the best gifts of this particular astrological T-square dynamic, is that you're being gifted with noticing yourself more and noticing how much the mind can run the show and take over, and how much the Pisces energy can be pushed aside or ignored. But this is a time to trust what you're feeling, trust what you're sensing, again, because of how that Saturn in Pisces is the stronger influence here and will continue to be so into 2025. So essentially make a choice for your future. make a choice based on what lifts your energy and where you feel lighter and freer. And it could even be as simple as sitting with the choices you're looking to make. So if you choose option A, how does your energy feel? If you choose option B, how does your energy feel? If you choose option C, how does your energy feel? And allow yourself to be in each option for, let's say, a day or an afternoon, and to just experience, okay, what would this look like? How would this be for me? And it's basically allowing yourself to have a multi-dimensional experience of these choice points and to feel into how your energy is speaking to you and what you're sensing through allowing each choice to be your reality. So I hope that makes sense. Essentially, it's saying, okay, let's say I make this choice over here. Let me just play in that potential. And what does that bring up for me? Tune into how your body feels, how your emotions feel, and what shifts within you, because this is also where you are giving yourself the opportunity to hear and listen to all of your energy as it's supporting you in whatever you need to figure out or decide. Now, keep in mind this energy is the strongest at 14 degrees of the mutable signs. So that would be 14 to actually 17 degrees of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. If you have planets or points between 14 to 17 degrees, then this is a big deal for you. This is significant in your life path and your choices, because that's also what Jupiter and Saturn are about. They steer our ships. They help us navigate through our personal realities. And that Jupiter wants you to feel confident, strong, happy, joyful about what you're learning along the way. And Saturn wants you to be aware of the real world implications, the responsibilities involved, and the importance of making life choices based on what is for your best and highest good for the long term. And now that Mercury in Sagittarius has new ways of seeing the bigger picture, understanding what you could gain and learn, as well as connecting you with a more optimistic outlook that perhaps wasn't available previously. So obviously this is one of the biggest energies of this week. Now we also have on December 28th, Venus in Aquarius squaring Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 23 degrees. This is a surprising development, and this is where something can break through. Now, with this particular aspect, Venus and Uranus are in mutual reception. Venus is in Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus retrograde is in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So this is more favorable for moving something forward. This is removing blocks or limitations. This is where that Venus in Aquarius is going to have the opportunity to expand her life vision, open up to new people, different approaches. There are shocking developments here with this particular square. This can also show up through your creative influences, through partnerships, connections, love matters, also through money. So financial choices, unexpected bills, maybe something related to tax payments or investment accounts. Keep in mind, it could be good news because maybe the numbers play out in your favor in a way that you didn't anticipate. But Venus squaring Uranus is an unexpected development that is meant to ultimately move energy, to release what's been stuck, because they're both in fixed signs. So there is a pressure point here and it needs a release, and Venus is going to experience it because that Uranus in Taurus retrograde is the stronger influence. So that means that Venus in Aquarius is going to be feeling that need to evolve, liberate herself, make a new choice, go in a different direction. I mean, people could have some surprising news to share about what they want to do next year. There could be rebellious movements here. Chaos would certainly be in the cards. Turning left instead of turning right. That type of energy is strong around December 28th with the square between Venus and Uranus at 23 degrees. Then on the next day, December 29th, Chiron stations direct at exactly 19 degrees of Aries. And this is a big deal because Chiron has been retrograde since July 27th, and Chiron has also been moving very slowly through the degree points and is hanging out here at 19 degrees of Aries for 3 months. And 19 degrees of Aries is significant because it's where we had the April 8th Aries solar eclipse. So basically, Chiron is activating that solar eclipse point at 19 degrees of Aries, the middle of November until the middle of February 2025, bringing our attention to what we are learning and understanding about ourselves that we didn't previously know or see. It's also highlighting vulnerabilities, insecurities, and the parts of ourselves that we are newly developing and newly meeting. Now, with this Chiron stationing direct on December 29th, there is a standstill, and this can be a silence point. So this last week of the year, Chiron might be bringing forward a message for you around what was initially triggered or instigated back in April with that solar eclipse. And Chiron is searching for the remedy. What will heal this? What will make it better? And this is a turning point with Chiron this week, where essentially the wounded healer realizes, I understand something in a new way. I'm seeing this through a new lens. And that station direct can be a breakthrough, where all of a sudden, for example, you're walking and you halt and you realize, oh my goodness, why didn't I see this earlier? Why didn't I understand it before? Why did I have to go on that big runaround loop in order to come back to this understanding? And yet everything has a purpose. Everything serves us in some capacity in the higher realms. But this is where Chiron has a breakthrough with the station direct and realizes something that maybe was right there the whole time, but there needed to be a healing component here. There needed to be an internal journey to get to the heart of a matter or the truth around who you are and what you want. Chiron in Aries is helping us to be stronger in who we truly are. Not the version of ourselves that we think others need us to be, not even the versions of ourselves that we thought we previously were. No, we're getting more into the raw, vulnerable truth of self-love and self-acceptance that involves seeing parts of ourselves that maybe we don't like. And so we push it away or we don't want others to see it. And then Chiron says, actually, that's exactly what needs to be loved. That's exactly what needs to be welcomed and hugged and embraced. And this could be a week where you find yourself embracing what you had abandoned, rejected, or pushed away, even welcoming back parts of yourself that you didn't believe were strong or courageous or independent. These could even be energies that you were taught were not acceptable, were not good enough, were not allowed to be a part of your self-concept or your self-identity. But we are putting together the pieces of who we are that have always been there. And it's through that Chiron journey that we tap into what's underneath the surface that we are meant to fully claim and accept. And so this is a week where those themes are quite pronounced. And because it's triggering that April Aries solar eclipse, this is where matters from April might resolve themselves, might have a turning point, might experience a new remedy or solution. Now, I don't know about you, but it always takes me a minute to even think back to what the heck was going on in April, because it feels like it was a long time ago. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what that might have been. But when you do so, it's like when you get softer to yourself and listen to yourself, you're going to hear and feel into a quieter part of your own soul that is gifting you with an insight this week. It's loving, empathetic, and kind. It's also highly personal. It's a very personal energy here with Chiron and Aries. So keep in mind that that's also what's going on amongst this dynamic energy that we've just discussed with Jupiter and Saturn. Now, right after Chiron stations direct on December 29th, we then have the Capricorn New Moon on December 30th at 10 degrees of Capricorn. So you would identify where you have 10 degrees of Capricorn in your chart, as this is where a new beginning is ready to be experienced. Capricorn is the third and final earth sign in the zodiac wheel, and it's where we come forward to demonstrate our mastery, where we exude self-respect and personal integrity. It's where we desire to be in charge of our decision making, of what we're moving towards. It is a rather ambitious energy. And now that Pluto is done in Capricorn, I feel that this Capricorn new moon is about a new start in an area of your life that maybe created a lot of turmoil, was really challenging, was really difficult. Now this part of your chart is free and clear. Pluto is done here. So what do you want for the future? What do you want to build in the world that is meaningful to you, that has a purpose and aligns with your own soul purpose? What are you moving towards? And what gives you a sense of ambition at this point? So this could be a great day for thinking through what you want in 2025, identifying those goals, determining what you want to focus on, and also understanding where you've been, because the Capricorn energy accumulates a lot along the way. Capricorn is about your lived experiences, the school of hard knocks, what you've had to endure and go through that you couldn't rush through. It had its own timeline. It's had its own purpose in the time-space continuum. And so that Capricorn new moon could give you new strength around what matters to you now. And this can also be a great time to revisit a bucket list, to check in on what matters to you in your life. Also, what you're planning for the future. Capricorn is about our commitments to others as well as to ourselves. So what commitments do you want to make that put you in alignment with your soul purpose and direct you forward into territory you've never been in before? Now, this particular Capricorn new moon is receiving a supportive sextile from Saturn in Pisces at 14 degrees. And Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn. And because Saturn is in Pisces and signifies endings, completions, and what you need to let go of, you could have some insights here around what you've been learning at a soul level, what you've had to move through and experience. And I feel too like this particular Capricorn new moon sextiling Saturn in Pisces has hermit energy in it, as in the tarot archetypal understanding of the hermit, where there's a retraction here in order to reflect, to sit with yourself and your energy and consider what you've been through, what it means to you now, and how it shapes where you're going next. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos about the energy of forgiveness in the Capricorn new moon, and I do want to clarify that a bit more, because the word forgiveness, the concept of forgiveness, has many different meanings to many different people. And I remember back probably about 20 years ago now, it was the big concept. It was the big thing in spirituality and self-help. And there was radical forgiveness, and there was the pressing question of, do you forgive them? Can you forgive them? Can you forgive them to move on? And now we're in a very different energetic dynamic. And what we're moving through is strengthening us in who we really are, in our gifts, our experiences, our karma, our lessons, our healing, our dark nights of the soul, our inner child work, on and on it goes, right? And I feel that where we're at now in the understanding of these spiritual concepts, and specifically of forgiveness, is that there's an element here of acceptance. Do you accept what you've been through? Do you accept how things happened for you, or what you chose or what you didn't choose? Are you able to connect with the energy of acceptance that is not idealizing, that's not idealistic in any way? The energy of acceptance is bringing you into reality, and it's also meant to strengthen you. Because as you tap into the energy of acceptance, you can see how everyone is in their own experience of their energies, meaning they have their karma, their soul lessons, their wounding, their healing. Each of us has that. And as you accept what yours may be, you can then apply that same acceptance to others. And as we do so, there's detachment there as well. You can say, all right, I understand what I was learning, and I detach myself from whatever they were learning, or whatever was important for their soul growth and on their soul journey. And part of this detachment, which is actually really important for a lot of light workers, empaths, starseeds, because a lot of people who have those energies come in feeling such responsibility. This sense of, I've got to help other people. I've got to serve them. I've got to maybe try to save them. And the truth is, no, you don't. And no, you can't. You can't. All you can do is take responsibility for your energy and to look at where you are healing, growing, learning within yourself, which is where your power is, and to see others as powerful beings, whether or not they see themselves as powerful, but to detach and not feel the responsibility to take on their lessons or their journey or what they're choosing. No, no, no. That time is over. And so all of this plays into the concept of forgiveness, because there was a time when people were holding the burden of forgiveness. Oh, I've got to forgive them and I can't move forward. Or, oh, it's my job to forgive them, and not until I forgive them will I be at peace. What you're doing is you're pulling in some lower vibrational energy that's actually holding you back, and could also be connected to the age of Pisces. Now, the age of Pisces is what we're moving out of as we move into the age of Aquarius. And I have done podcast episodes discussing that, because the age of Pisces is where we surrendered our power, where we were all saviors. We wanted to even martyr ourselves for the sake of others. We trusted blindly. We thought, oh, I've got to help them because they're not powerful enough to help themselves. So all of that is programming that we're moving out of. The age of Pisces is also where we were seeking forgiveness. We were seeking redemption and atonement because we thought, oh, I was a bad human. Oh, I sinned. Oh, I messed up. And yet when we move up and ascend into higher energies, we understand we make mistakes, we're doing the best we can, and we're learning from them. But not everyone is doing that. Not everyone is learning. Not everyone is changing. Not everyone is evolving. If you're dealing with a narcissist who never takes responsibility and is always the victim, you do not need to further attach yourself to their energy. You do not need to forgive them. You can separate and detach from them. You can fully accept who they are, but you also have to accept what they're choosing. If you have a narcissistic mother, a narcissistic sister, a narcissistic brother, and you have to see them at family events, and you're feeling this pressure of, oh, I've got to forgive them. Oh, I've got to be very spiritual, and I've got to forgive them so that we can continue a relationship. That isn't really the best way of looking at the situation, because what you have to do is accept who they are, accept where they're at, accept their choices, accept if they are narcissistic or toxic or draining or mean, whatever the case may be. Accept who they are, and then look at what your programming is around trying to make them better, or to be the better person and forgive, or to take on their journey, or to help them. Look at what your programming is, what your responsibility is that you're taking on, because we're now in a different energy field that's much more clean cut. It's clearer energy. It's dissipating the misty age of Pisces stuff where we lost ourselves. The age of Aquarius is we are returning to ourselves, our individuality and our sovereignty. And as we do so, we grant others that same journey as well. So when we're talking about forgiveness here, it's not meant to be something that you do that weakens you. No, keep those boundaries up. Be responsible with your empathy. You're not responsible for what other people are choosing or their choices or their path. There are people who are going to be narcissists for the rest of their lives. There are people who are going to be toxic for the rest of their lives. And so if you are looking to forgive them, ask yourself, or am I really looking to detach from them and to honor their path, to honor them as a powerful creator in their life? And in doing so, I honor myself as a powerful creator in my life, and I'm going to just hand them right over to God. I'm just going to offer them over there to spirit, to their angels, so that they can be on their journey, and I'm not carrying this ridiculous self-expectation that ultimately weakens my energy. Now, of course, just trust what resonates for you, because it is different for every person. Each of us are on our own soul journey with these energies, but many of you have moved out of a lot of the age of Pisces programming. And so when we're discussing forgiveness, it's about remaining strong in your boundaries, accepting who you are, accepting who they are. I don't know about you, but there's people in my life I would never connect to again. I would never give them the time of day or allow them near my energy. No, over, done, bye. And that's it. There isn't anything to forgive. It's about accepting the energy and the reality and then moving on. Forgiveness isn't meant to make us feel weaker or to dissipate our self-respect or our personal boundaries. There are people that you probably could never forgive in this lifetime because of who they are, what they've done, especially trauma, abuse, horrible situations or experiences in your life, whatever the case may be. So basically what I'm getting at is that the concept of forgiveness has evolved as we have evolved. As we have raised our consciousness, our understanding of energetics has shifted as well. And what can happen is that people turn it against themselves and think, oh, I'm not complete with this because I haven't forgiven them. You're complete with it when you're done with it, when you've neutralized it, when you've pushed it away, you've detached, you don't care, your boundaries are strong, and your self-love is stronger. That's also where the energy has elevated and you've moved on. We're meant to feel stronger on our path. We're meant to feel more confident, more self-loving, that we've mastered some things. You've mastered it like a badass. You've gained from it. You've learned from it. No need to turn around and try to forgive or try to offer forgiveness when that is something that you can be at peace with already. So are you at peace? Are you at peace with something, someone, some situation? Because if so, then you're done. You're free and clear, and that allows you to move forward. So that is also part of this Capricorn New Moon, is that you've gained from your experiences. You understand what the situation was about, what you mastered along the way, and that you're not meant to ever go back to it. And I feel that's a very powerful theme here in Capricorn season, especially if you passed a test, especially if it's been a lifelong test or a situation that has been on repeat in your life or in your world. Not only does the universe test you, the universe graduates you, and you graduate with all those fireworks and all those flying colors. You move on to the next level. And then, of course, the next round of lessons and experiences show up there. So allow this new moon to bring you peace, acceptance, self-love, and mastery that you feel and sense internally. And you'll also know that you've detached and moved on because you're neutral. There's a neutral energy present that no one can shake, no one can take away from you, no one can trigger or stir up drama around. There's a sense of I'm free and clear. I'm moving on. I've moved on. It's fantastic over here. And I'm good with how the energy feels now. So in other words, forgiveness is often used to find closure and peace. But if you already have found that, if you're already there, you're complete and you're done, then you've already moved through that need for forgiveness. If you're neutral, if the emotions have cleared out and you've already moved past whatever may have triggered that need for forgiveness in the first place. Now, I understand that forgiveness can be more complicated and complex depending on your own personal experiences and what you're moving through. So I'm certainly not wanting to discount that or to underestimate it. But I just want to highlight that these concepts evolve and change as the energies on the planet evolve and change. And when you get quiet to listen to yourself, you might get a message that surprises you. And I mean surprises you in a good way, because I'm seeing this as many individuals being clearer in their energy fields than they realize. It's like your light body is stronger than maybe you've sensed. And this could be a week where you really pick up on how much you've cleared out, how much you've shifted and changed. And it can be very enlightening, especially as we close out one year and begin a new year. Like finally, I've been doing the work and the work is paying off and it's cleared out and things have really changed and it's awesome. It's an awesome way to live and it makes it all worth it. Now, on the last day of the year, right after that Capricorn New Moon, Mercury in Sagittarius trines Chiron in Aries at 19 degrees on December 31st. And this is Mercury bringing a new understanding to what that Chiron has been solving and figuring out. So as I mentioned with that Chiron stationing direct on December 29th, now Mercury brings in more information that brings together the bigger picture. This can be quite optimistic and encouraging, and it can help end the year with a sense of renewal. Mercury has been bringing Chiron a lot of different information throughout this year, but this could be something that really clicks and gives you a purpose going forward, gives you a sense of, yes, that's what I want to move towards. That's what lifts me up, and that inspires me to be more of myself than ever before, based on what I've been learning and healing. Now, because we have that Capricorn New Moon on December 30th, we complete the year and begin the new year with the moon in Capricorn. This makes us more serious, focused, and responsible. There could be things you want to tidy up and get organized as the new year begins. Now, next Wednesday, we will discuss more about the second Mars-Pluto opposition. That will be exact on January 3rd. So I do want to give you a heads up that we're in that energy now as it increases to the exact opposition. Mars retrograde in Leo at 1 degrees opposes Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degrees. So these two areas of your chart where you have 1 degree of Leo and 1 degree of Aquarius is where there is a challenge, polarization, a standoff. This is where the energy can be angry or at war. It can be very locked in to a position and not want to budge. And this only escalates the emotional tension as well. This is happening in the world, and we are approaching it at this time. So it means that we're going to be starting January with some very powerful divisive energies and big emotions. It's the first time in our lives that we've had this opposition in Leo and Aquarius, and we're going to have it again the end of April when they are each at 3 degrees of Leo and Aquarius. So if you want to look in your chart, again, where you have 1 to 3 degrees of Leo and 1 to 3 degrees of Aquarius is where you are feeling the contentious energy, rage, powerful emotions, especially moving through the body, and it's easier to be triggered at this time. So we have a responsibility here to be aware of what we're feeling, to stay aware of any outbursts, what's coming up and what you want to unleash, what you feel you have to get out, and to keep in mind that it's no one else's responsibility to take care of our emotions or our reactions. That's on us. And being able to moderate them and regulate them greater will be really important here as January begins. So I'll talk about that more in next Wednesday's podcast episode, but just a heads up that we're in it and you could start to see and feel more of that coming up around you. So as we close out this final week of 2024, I hope you find deep peace in parts of your journey that you've mastered, you've handled with your soul's wisdom and guidance, and you're able to tap into new levels of self-respect. I hope that this energy between Jupiter and Saturn in an exact square is guiding you into more of your intuitive brilliance, that this is working for you to help you see what you're capable of in a new way, and that endings happen for a reason. What we're closing out and the areas of our lives that we need to step away from are beautiful hints that the universe has something more and something better coming forward for you in the new year, especially when Saturn moves into Aries. And I hope this Chiron stationing direct gives you healing insights and a sense of self-love and self-compassion around what you've been handling and how you've been understanding more of who you are in this lifetime. I hope all these energies of the week bring you great gifts and that the Capricorn New Moon gives you a sense of possibility and goals for the next calendar year. I will be releasing content for you on YouTube over this next week, and I am sticking to my regularly scheduled release date of podcast episodes. So that's not changing over the holidays. But mostly I want to thank you again for journeying with me. Thank you for listening and connecting. And as always, I hope to offer you more astrological guidance and wisdom as we move into 2025, where I'm sure beautiful things await you in the new cycles of energy that we're starting. Again, have a lovely holiday season, and I look forward to connecting with you again here soon. Take good care.